because they're finally like starting to actually delve into like the more conspiracy sided bits of like the storyline, which I'm super enjoying. We had One Piece still kicking. Boruto, no, does not exist. It's not a real anime.
Boruto does not exist.
It's decent. It's better than what some people give it credit for, at least.
I will say they are super duper like finally like putting a lot of money towards what everybody like wanted so much for like the longest time, and that is like the fight sequences. The fighting sequences have just only gotten better, and I am super proud of Studio Pierrot for going that route.
Hell yes. But I mean, like for this season, like the only thing that actually there's quite a few decent shows like the Tonkatsu Ramen with Grand Crest and Darling in the Franxx. But other than that, I don't really think anything's really fantastic.
I mean, I like Darling in the Franxx, so I think it's fantastic. There's a lot of continuations though, like Ancient Magus Bride and all that. And Darl Vanishing Land's still kind of interesting right now. It's been done for a while. Overlord.
Seven Deadly Sins has upped the animation budget, I believe, because holy shit, I don't think that any character in that show had as much expressiveness as we've seen this season.
Oh yeah, no, like it's going good. Probably because like it was a semi-pilot with Netflix originally, and they realized there was a lot of fucking want for it, so they brought it back. Because it took a while for them to come back with it.
Well, I mean, like it was, like the manga's really popular, like even before the show started to come out.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's good.
That was a game, right? That was originally a video game, wasn't it?
Seven Deadly Sins? No, it was a manga.
I feel like I strongly feel like it has heavy like video game tie influences for some reason.
Possibly. I have no idea.
I mean, there's a lot of shows like at least video games like stats and whatnot.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, the fucking Seven Deadly Sins are overpowered, but now they're actually met with an anime that's even, like, much more overpowered than they are, and it's actually interesting. Because beforehand, like, everything was just fucking child's play, and they're just like, ha 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 ha, get fucked. Basically. They're like, hey, you know, we can slaughter all of you at a moment's notice, but we're not actually evil.
And then, of course, the highlights, the best shit, the top tiers. We've got Gakuken Babysitters.
I never saw that.
It's basically literally little children and a bunch of I guess like board school kids at like Super and Elite Academy who take on the roles of being the babysitters for the daycare in the school.
Weird.
It's just someplace.
Was it last season that had the elite school, the classroom of the elite? That was a good one.
That one was was it like
might have been 2 seasons ago.
Kids are super hard like soldiers or something, and they're being sent to
No.
Something or whatever.
No, that classroom of the elite's like just hyper intelligent kids and like super rich kids and shit.
So it's like okay.
It's like what?
Like Ender's Game.
Something like that. The main character is kind of like Ender. What?
So let me go back and watch the last episode of that.
So good. But no, like, the Classroom Elite was just super hardcore. This follows the story of, like, a group that's Class D, which was the rejects of society kind of deal. It's just interesting.
Well, the rejects of the elite, at least.
Yeah. Well, also rejects of society. I mean, some of them, because most of them weren't even intelligent. They were pretty, like, dumb, fucked up on their tests and shit. So yeah.
They did that whole kind of like, look, they're actually very, very lazy, unmotivated societal outcasts, but in truth, they're extremely clever.
Well, the main character kind of was, but he wasn't lazy. He was semi-lazy.
The ones that were kind of portrayed like that got in, like, for, I think it was, like, sports scholarships and shit like that.
Yep. The generic fucking thing that people get in for.
Sports scholarships, like, really shouldn't be a thing, IMO.
Yeah, I mean, you know, whatever. I don't really care.
There's a few good ones, like Hajimito no Eppo. Ippo.
Ippo Hajimete.
That's known as like a really great one. And the volleyball one, I actually enjoyed that. Whatever the fuck it was called.
Alrighty. Our timer is ran down as we were sitting here talking the whole time during intro music, which is a-okay in my book, personally.
Very good.
Yeah. I know we were just hanging out, having a good time. We're real people here. We're a real show. Anyway, I'm your host, HarperBunder_1, with my co-host over here, Mr. Highkeg, and this episode's special guest, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Ted.
Yes, it is Ted. What are you known as? Are you known as just Ted or Tediverse? I know you're known as Tediverse somewhere. In some places.
Tedverse is my overall brand name, but some people know me as Ted, the Vaporwave Dream, DJ Wild Ride, Mr. Bones Extraordinary Adventure.
Oh, no.
Lot of monikers, but folks just know me as Ted.
Alright, well, welcome to the show, Mr. Ted. Thank you for, again, reaching out to me and hitting me up about that post. It's good to have you on.
Thank you for letting me on.
So go ahead and first off, tell us a bit about yourself. Like, what do you like to do? What do you do in your daily life? You know, that sort of thing. Your job, what have you.
I am a super duper obscure loving minimalist content producer. I used to be heavily into indie film production and music production, bouncing around from a lot of different undergroundish punk and black metal projects until I had gotten into more sophisticatingly expressive work outlets. I've done a little bit of VA work myself, have dabbled around in movie making in terms of just acting out scenarios, acting characters, writing scripts and stuff. And now I'm here on Twitch. I make very vaporwave, but just in general, anything 80s and 90s inspired content with a heavy focus on minimalism and obscure alternative comedy routes.
Interesting. So that means you're interested in that one game. Is it something 2077?
Metro?
Is it Metro? No. What
No. Cyber something.
I think it's Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah, it's super like platformy, but it's also old ultra retro and stuff.
I'm having really high hopes for it since the developers have noted that they're taking huge spiritual inspiration steps from the original Beyond Good and Evil and the two original renditions of System Shock.
Yeah, and that was, I think that's the same. Yes, good stuff. Alrighty, then we're gonna start this off with some with the interview questions here, basically. So. First question, what kind of anime do you like to watch, and do you have a preferred genre?
My all-time favorite genre of anime is anything that delves with either psychological horror or something that manages to pull off simplistic storylines but then delves into psychological mind twist elements. Anything that is similar to, I believe it was Game of Sin or... something along the lines of like House of Sin or Game of Sin. This one particular anime in which an exorcist roams around Tokyo, finding poltergeist scenarios to unpoltergeist, and especially my all-time favorite number one anime on the list has to be the original 1989 Gainax production, Hideki Anno's brainchild and debut into millions and millions of dollars, Neon Genesis Evangelion.
I thought so.
Nice.
I thought that was coming around to that.
No, I was gonna say, if you wanted like psychological mindfucky stuff, you should watch like Chaos Head and all of those. I'm sure you've seen those.
I've had brief kind of tastes of something like that, and I have to say, I like where kind of Chaos Head does a dynamic plot shifting around with like both the characters and their like character expositions throughout. I definitely enjoyed a lot of what was it? The Zodiac games, or I'm pretty sure I'm saying it wrong. I can't remember the titles very well, but it was a show essentially where a bunch of different characters with different character superpowers related to the Chinese Zodiac
Talking
enter
about Junie
death.
Tyson?
Yes, Junie Tyson.
That was last season as well. Yes.
I super duper enjoyed its whole take on how the different Zodiac characters interpretations and like the the foreground and explanation to personality characteristics and future prosperity, how they put that into sort of character stat format for characters, and they really pushed the personality portrayal of these particular zodiacs in a beautiful light. I would say, I have to say, my favorite absolute character out of all of them, and of course the one that wins the Junie Tyson at the end, Mouse, simply for our overall perception towards the games and his overall platitude, not only towards how he has been combating and fighting the match all of those times, but on top of the way that he perceives his own superpowers, where he doesn't really feel himself using any form of superpowers or really competing in the games. More so, he is just figuring out tactics in which to just simply stay alive. I had a heavy admiration for his overall character construction.
It was
I
pretty
felt it went a
interesting.
bit slow. Like the pacing was kind of weird. Like for me, I would have honestly liked to see like most of the people's backgrounds before instead of the whole like just because of the way the plot works. If you saw somebody's background, you knew they were dying. Basically, is what it came down to be. And like,
It's really tragic about it, but I mean, the way that they had taken the deaths and the setup of the deaths was a surprisingly kind of like refreshingly kind of, it catches you off guard. You kind of, everybody kind of already knows, even going into the anime, if you like even take one stroll through the show synopsis, you immediately know who's going to die and in what order. Yet they somehow managed to take their deaths and give them a very off guard catching atmosphere to them, to the point where we all know that Mouse is going to win. We all know who's going to die in order. And yet, when everybody had died, we all kind of clutched our seats and thought, oh, well, you know, I hope Tiger doesn't die. I hope Ox doesn't die. And yet we were still caught off guard despite knowing who's going to die and when.
Well, I mean, when I was looking at it, I knew that everybody was going to die by except for one, but I didn't know who that one was going to be. I don't know how you came under the pretense that this one person was going to win straight from the beginning.
Well, according to the Chinese zodiac, there's a tale in it in which all of the animals, essentially, life is a large stride towards the sun, and Junie Tyson took kind of this folklorish premise of, well, all the Chinese zodiacs animals are striding their way towards the sun, and
in a
in
race where the fucking mouse sits on the head of
yeah,
the person that's about to win and jumps off at the end, kind of thing.
yep, essentially the mouse rode the bull's head all the way through the path of life, and right as the path crumbled beneath the ox, the mouse jumped and landed to the sun.
Yep,
Hmm.
I know that
That's
story. I guess I could have made that connection, but I totally didn't.
Same. I feel like that makes it a little bit better to go in a little bit more blind than you did then, I guess.
But it's just, that's the beauty of a show like Junie Tyson, where I love a show that can take everything about it, take the exposition, take the plot, take all of the currents of events, take all the sequence of happenstance and everything that's going to lead up to any crucial moment or scene, put it right in front of your face, and still egg this atmosphere of suspense and tension and unknownness as to what's going to happen. I believe, in my personal opinion, that a great anime is one that can take the entire story, plaster it right in front of your face, and yet still make you guess what should happen.
And yeah, that would be, pretty good. I guess.
On the note of that anime, though, I wasn't the only one completely dissatisfied with the band's wish, was I?
What?
The what?
The rat's wish at the end.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
terrible.
everybody was dissatisfied, and it was really kind of a hardcore buildup of, okay, so what is the guy who can tell the future going to truly want to in the end? But in a way, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Since when you have when you have somebody, or when you're a person who can literally take any kind of happenstance and just immediately know all the outcomes, then in a sense life completely becomes useless. And what would have been the point of Rat wishing for anything in the entire story, or in the entire after events, when he would know what would come after it, and he knew just exactly how satisfied or even dissatisfied he would be with any of that. He chose the very mortal route of, I want to go at life as any human would be, completely blind to fate.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he wished that he would just forget about the whole thing.
That was his thing. I don't think he wished his power away. Like, he wished to forget about that whole thing. Probably because he died fucking 99 times. That's also like a big mental thing. It's like, yeah, there are all these people with superpowers, but they're all kind of regular people. I mean, I say kind of, whatever. But they all basically, in the end, they all had demons of some sort, or they all had some sort of other, ulterior motive type thing. It's kind of interesting. That was actually one of the interesting things, everybody's underlying storyline of why they were there, and, who they were fighting for, what they were fighting for, kind of thing.
That's a cool one. I don't believe the show really ever expands upon why anything with the Junie Tyson happened, or why anybody was there to begin with. They were just there.
Yeah. Well, so some people got backstories, like, the sheep dude went instead of his son, that kind of thing. Like, there was some people that had those sort of stories. Like why they ended up going, or why they, like the tiger chick, she ended up fucking going, even though she was kicked out, because, she decided she might be able to see the oxy again. And she did. And he didn't really remember. Heartbreaking ship right there. Ugh.
He didn't give two fucks.
Pretty much.
Oh.
Yep. I think he started figuring it out at the end or whatever. I think is what happened.
That's possible.
Because, well, no, he was like, is this that person? Nah. That's what happened. That's what he did. But anyway, moving off from that. So, what is your favorite anime, and what is your favorite episode / scene from it? Is Junie Tyson your favorite, or do you have a different favorite? Is it
Definitely, always, forever favorite in my mind will be Neon Genesis Evangelion. And I do have to say, my absolute favorite scene from it has to be, I believe, episode 27, when what was it? When I keep forgetting his name, because his character's platitude is so kind of so plaid jacket, so flannel, that I refer to him as Pudding Cup mostly in my brain.
Is it Shinji?
Yes, it's Shinji.
Get in the goddamn robot, Shinji! Anyway, yeah.
Get in the fucking bot. Episode 27, I believe, was when Shinji and Nerve figure out that after killing all of the angels, that Kaoru was the final and last angel. And then Shinji was put into the most precarious position of, okay, so what do I exactly do? Am I going to eliminate the angel's threat and the possibility of Adam being revived for a third impact scenario by killing Kaoru? But at the same time, throughout the entire show, Kaoru was essentially the only person who even gave 3/4 of a fuck about anything about Shinji. He was the only one who ever really took his feelings into consideration, listened to his problems, and lended him very real friend-like sympathy, and was one of the truest and only companions to Shinji in the entire story, since Asuka was only there to be his rival and to be a
bitch.
Force. And to be a bitch, of course.
Yeah, to be a complete bitch to him the whole time. Let's be real here.
Rey was there to fulfill her, I guess, ultimate purpose of the story, and was to be a god and to essentially lead and guide Shinji towards finally coming to his own conclusiveness. And really, a lot of people argue that Rey was his friend as well, but when you consider what Rey's ultimate end goal and what her end point was for the story, you start to realize that she was only there to be the deital figure that was supposed to have Shinji finally overcome his fear of decision making and overcome his overwhelming paranoia, phobia, and fear towards making decisions and growing horrible depression from his decisions, because Shinji could never ever come to terms with a single decision he made, nor could he ever feel that any decision he made was right, due to the fact how everybody would consistently abandon him and disregard everything about him in his life. So then we had a real honest to God friend who actually gave a good goddamn about his feelings. And the whole scene is this amazing still frame. This still frame that had absolutely no animation at all, just a still image of Shinji in Eva 1 holding Kaoru in his hands, and the camera slowly, ever so slightly, pans forward towards them, kind of like a very general gradual close-up. And that scene was essentially shot like that, and a lot of the scenes were shot like that due to just one whole reason: budget constraints. And especially Ano suffered so many budget constraints on that show because, number one, after Gunbuster, Royal Pilot Task Force and Royal Pilot Task Force 2 suffered what, like, he in the Japanese anime industry, those two projects that he worked on were considered like flops among all flops. And everything about what he could have potentially, like, everybody's foresight into his future workings was immediately considered as a pre-failure. So a lot
good.
of it's just like, okay, so you made one good show, and then you made one project, flopped dramatically, and then you made another show on top of that to be a sort of sequel to it, and that flopped, not dramatically, but magnanimously. Oh, a grand flop of flops. So everybody went into his Gainax and King Records, all went into his production cycle thinking, okay, we got to really worry and we got to really be cautious as to how much money we're putting into what scene and where exactly we're putting it, because we don't want Neon Genesis Evangelion to be another Royal Pilot Task Force 1 and 2. So that entire scene was very quiet, very still, and very, very somber, but it put so much weight, so much gravity into Shinji's decision there as to, okay, what are you going to do now, Shinji? Are you going to forsake everything about your feelings, your self-respect, and the only person who could have really ever loved you for the sake of the world, or are you going to let him live? And finally, the scene is broken with this flashing, monstrous motion of the Ava taking Kaoru, squeezing him to the point where you can hear the bones cracking, and just ripping his head off like a piece of jerky.
Beautiful.
Damn.
And it crescendos into a magnificent, crashing, tiding orchestral a ballad that really, really, like, put not only into perspective just how serious that scene was meant to be, but it also kind of took the severity and weight of what Shinji might have been feeling, all of the emotions and thoughts that were racing through his head. It all kind of slaps your forehead as well, and you start to think, wow, Shinji, you really just killed the only person who, one of the two only people who ever gave a fuck about you. You caved in. You caved into your father's wishes. You caved in to the sense of, I need to save the world, and that's what Shinji hated. I don't know how much this topic may come up to people, but what people don't really realize is this expectation and duty that Shinji had to save the world, and this this duty that the world needs to be saved and somebody needs to do it. Shinji absolutely hated it. He hated the fact that he was the one chosen to save the world. He didn't want to save the world. He didn't want to save himself, let alone the world. So now the entire world's life was placed into his hands, and everything about it forced him to make sacrifice upon sacrifice that were he in charge and were it that he could have called the shots, he would have taken Kaoru, shoved him into his pocket, ran away to a corner of Alaska, and just let the world die.
Pretty much. And no, like that was like, you know, most of the premise behind the like first multitudes of episodes about him getting the robot. He would even sit there and he's like, fucking, I don't want people to see him as being a little kid, but also he's fucking, all of a sudden his dickhole dad that doesn't love him anymore, comes out of nowhere. Hey son, I need you to pilot this fucking robot. Just like, what? I mean, the dude fucking, his brain is fucked because everybody, like you were saying, wants him to do something or another, and they're all just trying to use him for one reason or another, and that's about it. They just see him as a tool.
Just the real beauty about how much this show and how much everybody in the show was just destined to crush his everything about his will to live. All of it is very, very demonstrably poured out into the first episode, where Shinji mysteriously gets called by his father to come to his facility to do something for him, and immediately Shinji has no idea what his father, whom completely was estranged to him and he to him as well, he really kind of draw this sense of, he's thinking, okay, well, dad hasn't ever messaged or talked to me or even tried to get in contact with me since I was born, basically, and he wrote me off as well, I don't know what this is and I'm gonna go throw it in the rubbish bin at birth. And all of a sudden Shinji gets the feeling, oh, did dad change his mind? Does dad maybe love me? Does he maybe
Daddy?
does daddy want me back? Does daddy want to actually finally go to the park with me? All for it to come tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down. In him just going, yeah, I just need you to get in a robot and do shit for me. Yeah, I still don't give a fuck about you, but I don't know any kids. You're kind of the only kid I know. These suits can't really fit anybody but a kid. You're a kid. I know you. Chop chop.
Yeah. Well, except for also the fact that it was his son is the only person that could actually pilot it because that was his mom and all that other shit. So,
Did his mom ever pilot the,
No. I believe the Ava was his mom, is the deal.
Right. His mom's soul was, right, because,
Yep.
Once Third Pact is initiated through the Ava's neural link, he crosses the Gulf of Souls to actually meet his mom through the whole Ava link.
Yep. And also the fact that, like, the Ava went berserk when anyone else piloted it was a big deal. So yeah, it had to be him. That was the biggest deal. It's not just, I need you to pilot this robot, it's literally, you have to pilot this robot because you're the only one. Oh, also, and this is the most badass robot ever. You're gonna be a badass.
Also, if you don't, well, you're just gonna die. And the great...
And the whole world's gonna die, and it's gonna be your fault. And everything's your fault. Also, I hate you.
And the great thing about it is how much his father kept pushing to assign blame to him, about, like, if you don't do this, everybody's gonna die, you're gonna die, and it's gonna be all your fault. Yet you can very, very distinctly tell in Shinji that him telling him, well, if you don't do this, you're gonna die, Shinji was just like, I'm okay with that. I want to die. I don't want to fucking live anymore. Fucking shoot me here right now. You'll just do me a service.
That moment when we all grow up to be Shinji. Anyway, at least on the extreme end levels of depression. But to carry on, what kind of effect does anime have on you and your life? I mean, obviously you're very into it. I mean, we haven't had anybody, I guess, explain this deeply questions. It's kind of cool.
Thank you. what anime particularly just means to me is I don't want to dismiss it as any art form, but I'm a very artistic person, to toot my trumpet there for a second. And I put a lot of stock into art and artistic mediums. And I believe anime to me is not only, well, another art form, but another unique art form, because we do have a lot of artistic outlets, expressive motives and methods and options, but there's there's a very intricate way and a very unique and original way that anime pulls off the concept of art in a way that I believe no other medium can really go into. Like, there's not a lot of mediums that can take storytelling, art display, and everything around that, and make it alive. It's as if you take books and you make them alive, but you make them alive in a way that no film ever could.
Which is
Because
exactly what anime does, especially with the light novels and stuff.
yeah, it takes books, it takes literature, I guess, and art that could be construed in literary format, and it makes them alive. And because it's animated, because a lot is put into the animation, that leaves a lot of room for so much energy, focus, and potential into the voice acting. I mean, regular acting is super expressive, is a super like emotive medium, and a super great way to push out a story, and to put out a character, put out a story, put out relatable scenes, put out a very good performance. But in acting, you have to focus so much on a variety of different things, such as your body language, your posture, how you walk, the deliberacy of all of your physical movements, your facial expressions, your tone, your the consistency of what you're trying to convey versus what you are physically expressing. A lot has to be a lot of your, I guess, artistic focus and concentration has to be very meticulously divided across all of these variables. Whereas in anime, we can separate all of these premises and condense them into two basic premises: the animation, well, not two basic but I guess uh, the whole makeup of anime, which is the animation, well, four if we're going to count the actual pillars: the animation, the storytelling, the score, the sound, and the voice acting. And where acting, regular like movie acting, would have all these four pillars branched out into multitudes of various subsects, in which very meticulous and very delicate division and distribution of your artistic effort and energy has to be made. Instead, we can just condense these into four main pillars: the illustration, well, the animation, the storytelling, the score, and the voice acting. And that leaves a lot of energy to be dispensed into these four pillars. And call me crazy, but I feel the more effort, not the more money, not the more like trying hardness, or not the more animation complexity or all that makes it, but the more artistic energy is poured into these four facets of an anime, the better it's going to get. It's only going to get better.
Yeah.
And
And money's a
because you
big
don't
deal,
have
but
to.
like you said, it's not like the biggest deal. Like I've seen some really good low budget works and I've been really surprised by some of them.
I mean, if you think about
heart
it, though, it
put
doesn't
into it.
require as much money to put into anime to make it something like say blockbuster film to get like the same kind of feelings that you get from watching anime.
Mm-hmm.
Like on a budget, you can get like Evangelion, for example. You said that they couldn't put as much money as they wanted into it, and yet you have this amazing anime.
It's now a cult classic that also has tons and tons of exhibits or shit in Japan. You know, they even have the fucking train with the Eva car in it and shit. It's beautiful.
Yeah. got like Wikipedia page upon Wikipedia page dedicated to this like conspiracy, not the story, but dedicated towards conspiracy of the story.
It's like if you look at say Clerks, which probably had an identical budget, there's a very big difference there.
Corpse was pretty good too, though, but it was also it's difference in budget. A video budget is, like you're saying, much different from an animation budget.
But in a way, I feel there's nothing wrong with a show having a really, really great big budget, and there's nothing wrong with like a show attempting to flaunt that budget. All of
Unlimited
the Fate
budget
series,
works. Yes,
all
I was
of
gonna
the
say that.
Fate series shows have shown that when you flex those money muscles, you can make some just butter, just absolute melty, creamy, delicious butter of
They're
a
fucking beautiful.
of a fight scene. You
Oh
can
yes.
something as simple as firing an arrow. It can be as if an ion orbit cannon is shooting.
Welcome to Fate. I love Fate. Fate's one of my newer favorite series. Besides the above, like my character picture, the fucking Ghost in the Shell. See the movie. I'm not a big fan of the movies Ghost in the Shell. I like Ghost in the Shell entirely though, so the movies are okay. But I really like the anime much better.
I love the original series. That was something magnanimously beautiful.
The original what?
I believe it was the 1997 airing where not the Adult Swim one, but the
I like the Adult Swim one.
Oh, that one is fantastic. It's just
Complex and all those.
I'm just gonna be the guy. Man. Everybody knows the guy that says the CG kind of really broke it up in places.
Mm.
Yeah, it happens.
I mean, for the parts where those little Troika robots were around, the CG was perfectly fitting. The CG was really fitting. Yeah, the CG for them was extremely fitting because it felt so appropriate. It felt so appropriate for those little robots to be CG-ified, and all of the little action sequences of them, it felt very appropriate for them to be CG'd. But when you take a fight scene of Makoto and some random nobody and CG-ify it, it's completely unnecessary. There's just, I mean, you can very much take the Berserk route of like do a half and half of animate certain parts and make certain parts still frames with an emphasis on the score, hyping up any movement or action.
Mm-hmm. Oh, apparently I got disconnected now. I'm reconnected. Chats. Am I having connection issues? No? Yes?
Are you having
I mean, I'm still here. I don't know. Restream chat just like connected. I don't know.
You don't. It doesn't seem like you have any problems on Mixer, and chats are still going, so
which is
good. Yep. Alright. I don't know. It just looked really weird. I do see it dropping every now and again. It's dropping frames, but it's whatever. It happens. I'm on limited internet supply. I use a hotspot. I just do talk shows these days.
I also want to give Ghost in the Shell massive props for surmising the kind of like ultimate key antagonist plot point, like the whole big shebang of the what was it, the puppet master being in the computer, in the big computer, and he just turned himself into a program who somehow managed to meld the brain power of a human and all of the technical prowess of a AI program. I bless the show for taking this and putting it directly into the title.
Yeah. And that was one of the good things. Like the big things I like about Ghost of Shell is like sci-fi in general. And also thank you at Chris with all the numbers that I don't feel like to pronounce right now, or the follow on Mixer. So like I like sci-fi stuff. I always have since I was young, like Halo and stuff from a young age.
Just generally sci-fi, or like more robot-oriented sci-fi.
But Por qué no los dos? I mean, basically both. Like, general sci-fi, yes. Like, space things, big deal. but also robots. Like, my dick gets hard for space stuff, like Cowboy Bebop, Outlaw Star, that sort of stuff, and then my dick gets hard for robots. And then when you
for
make
a
both,
space dandy.
Space Dandy is actually pretty. It's not the same thing, but it's funny. So I actually started watching it. Space Dandy's got a shit ton of episodes too. But yeah, no, like, and then you put both of them together, Outlaw Gundam, and then my fucking just dick flies to the moon.
Your dick has detached. It has become a Gundam.
Yeah, my dick transform. I'm now.
You just hear the word, like the moment. Oh, that reminds me of that one anime, which was I can't remember what it was called, but it was essentially set during the Renaissance period of Europe. But for no reason, like Gundams became a thing. Like Leonardo da Vinci invented Gundams.
You're talking about the Nobunaga the Fool, probably.
Yes, which
is a great. That anime was pretty interesting because it touched upon like characters from the past, but also like it was kind of cool. Because
it was highly stupid, but I love the fact that the show never broke awareness from the fact that, yeah, we know this is stupid. Yeah, we know that none of this is going to make even 3/4 of sense, but we're still going to try to make very kind of explainable, like we're going to try to go into exposition as to how any of this could make sense. But I love that the show never ever broke away from its awareness and never broke from its like a very clear admittance of, we know that this is nonsensical shit, but let us try to make sense of it for you for entertainment's sake.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, I was actually pretty like overall happy with it. It's pretty nice. Like, also because the weaving of the like different fucking pasts and the tales of everybody was kind of interesting. Basically, kind of like Fate, because I like that's how Fate does that. Fate's always cool with that.
On the topic of sci-fi shows, worst sci-fi shows, Aldnoah Zero.
See, some people hate Aldnoah Zero. I thought it was cool because, again, space robots, that's like my thing. But I will say it's sometimes meh. I just like the giant robot battle stuff, except the weird random human kid being absolutely completely overpowered just because he's hyper intelligent. It's kind of weird.
Well, the thing about it is I don't know if like there's a kitschy kind of unsaid trendiness or like an unsaid understanding about characters like that. But for me, if you have a character who is simply overpowered for the sake of being overpowered, then any form of just not even like relatability, but any form of me coming around to understand this character, having any sympathy or having any like likability for anything he does, goes right out the window. And all of his fight sequences, they have no not brevity, but they have no gravity anymore. Because, well, it doesn't matter if you give Egg Boy a literal forklift. He will just magically use that forklift to destroy a robot who
that's supposed to be unkillable.
Powers.
Yeah, that's unkillable in every aspect of the nature. Except, oh look, this one random kid is just like, all right. So because of these things, now, however, that's relatable to me as a person because I am that way. I'm a very blunt,
hyper-intelligent and overpowered.
The thing is, the biggest deal he does is he pays attention to detail. And so, like, during a fight, if I saw something like that, and I had that sort of knowledge, like, I have, decently well knowledge of, like, science and things, and I'm like, that's not how science works. I was like, science tells me there's gotta be a hole somewhere, because if it did just destroy all matter, like, the dude who had the matter destroyer thought he wouldn't get radioactive. And, like, some of those things made sense. The weird plasma sword in the water thing instantly blowing up and killing the robot, though. I was a bit like, that one was maybe not, I think, believable to me, because, yeah, sure, it'll fucking hit the water and instantly explode, cool, but, those robots can withstand everything, so why didn't it, withstand a fucking steam explosion, question mark? Basically.
Well, no, it's just, the thing about it is, and, our friendly neighborhood Demolition Lee did expound on this in his review of it, is it's not even that he is a hyper intelligent genius who simply like is hyper observant and knows how to combat. It's just that nobody in the show does anything except charge at the enemy and hope
die.
that we can like just overpower them by taking them head on. He the I would stand to say that the only reason that kid ever really truly triumphed any of his battles is because he was the only one who was attempting even so much as the bare minimum for military strategy, as look for weak points, regroup and disband when appropriate, flank and maneuver around the enemy and their attacks, keep track of enemy positions. That's I don't know
basics,
if like
I think combat basics, basically.
I don't know if the show was attempting to portray these maneuvers or these tactics as something like tacticianly profound or legendary, but in Combat 101, especially, that's baby's first tactical insertion right there. That's literally baby's first combat drill.
So you'd be surprised, actually, in real military, the army, like the U.S. Army, they basically train people to run at things in a nutshell. Run at things and shoot. That's it.
I mean, they train the army and the Rangers to run and shoot at things, while everybody else is no. The U.S. military has a very, very, I want to say, Attack on Titan-esque a structure to it. We have an entire division of the military dedicated to essentially, being literal cannon fodder and like dolls to
Marines,
be thrown at the enemy. And we have the special task force who is essentially designated to sit on the back lines, observe everything that's happening, and observe how the enemy is destroying our fodder, and to use that knowledge to beat the enemy. And I thought that was like a really cool way of how the scouts operated and conducted themselves when I believe it was the first wall was breached, and when the second wall was about to be breached. A lot of the ground troops were simply sent in, and Levi, Taicho, and the rest of the scouts really did whiz and just maneuver around the Titans and used the moments of the Titans' distraction and their combat with the ground troops and the other troops to take them down, which was that's what we do. That's what we in the U.S. do.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so man, you just killing all the questions here. I mean, hopefully you're not strapped for time.
I keep on forgetting about like what our original question is when he goes on the rant. I'm just like, this is very enjoyable, but I don't even remember the question that was asked anymore.
It's okay. So how do you normally like to watch anime? Do you like sit down? Do you watch on Crunchyroll?
Pirate it.
I mean, we here at the show like kind of technically advert a site that's
Kiss Anime.
No, we don't do Kiss Anime. We do MasterAnime.me. It's actually really good. It's usually got like 6 or so fucking like whatever hosts, and then it's also got a thing where like it automatically puts what you watch in a watch list and stuff like that. It's actually really good. It's a good site. Sign in, it tracks everything for you.
The weird thing about like my kind of just general anime viewing habits is what I like to do is I used to before, for me it was I stumble upon an anime, I just sit down, I watch it, try to watch it throughout all of its entirety, and then boom, I'm done with it. But now I've grown into the biggest habit of I want to read the synopsis or like the box description for the anime before I get into it. Not only to just like kind of watch for, is this going to be consistent? And I want to see if the show can throw a fastball at me.
Mm-hmm.
Since we've had tons and tons of animes in which and especially I'd like to use Boku no Hero Academia as a grand example of, it's just a boy who is not a hero, who doesn't have any superpowers, but meets the greatest superhero of all time, gains his powers, and then gives it his all, and does his best to become a superhero. Yet there's a lot of story in the parts that aren't talked about, as like the premise of being a hero, the effects of a superhero society, what it means to, want to be a hero, the dynamic of the heroes versus the villains, their motives, their drives, their essential core justification for why they do anything that they do. And on top of that, they give they give a very to the villains, I believe, and especially to the corrosive fella. They give a very, I want to say, subtle sympathetic cause to the villain's plight, and they somehow manage to make it where they clearly outline that the villains have evil intentions, and yet they make the evil intentions make sense, in the sense of, well, if you were in their shoes, you would probably have the exact same justification that they do. But I have to say my most favorite, like, kind of subplot point to them is in season 2 when the anti-hero Stain is introduced, who completely challenges and shakes everybody's notion on what it means to be a hero, and he essentially just kind of slaps down his own definition on what it genuinely and truly should mean to be a hero. But it's a it's a very profound one. It's a very
Yeah.
profound one that would even make Deku wonder, well, what the fuck does it really mean to be a hero?
Yeah, and it was, it was actually, it was one of the good things about Stain is that, like, he was bad, but also not really. Like, his cause was actually an okay one. He might have gone about it the wrong way, per se, but that's the only way to go about it, basically.
His whole shit was like being an anti-hero, which is,
Yeah.
I have good intentions, kind of, and I will, like, ultimately in myself want to do good, but I understand the importance of evil, and I will be prone to evil.
hmm And and it just Stain was an interesting character too. I mean, just because of everything he did. He was like, this isn't evil, this is how you should really be a hero. It takes a real hero, that sort of thing.
Hero.
Something like that, yeah.
Must kill all fake heroes.
Basically. Okay, Robot Keck.
I don't like fake heroes. They are fake and gay.
I might change him back to Bot Keck.
They're all traps.
Alright, do you prefer to watch anime while it's airing, or wait and binge it all at the end?
It depends on how much a show will captivate me. For instance, Ancient Magus Bride, that was a show that I was basically marking down each next scheduled broadcasting on my calendar.
Yes.
But then we'll have a show like whatchamacallit, Parasite. No, was it Parasite? No, just Parasite, which
Parasite,
I
the maximum, which is Parasite, it's all, yeah.
I haphazardly watched it. I didn't really, look for every every broadcasting date or everything. I kind of let it run on its own, and I picked it up at my leisure.
See, I didn't pick it up till way later, personally. Like, I didn't even really know about it, I guess, personally, when it came out.
When I finally picked it up, I binged it all in about 2 days.
Yeah, basically. I've been doing that recently. Fucking binged Altered Carbon on Netflix, which, by the way, is actually a pretty good show.
Ooh, Netflix anime?
No, that one's not even anime. That one's like a regular TV show. It's sci-fi. It's pretty cool. There's a couple Netflix animes that popped up, like Ico Incarnation and then B the Beginning. They're both really good. And then there's a third one I just saw popped up, I think, today on my list of stuff, and I put it in there so people watch it.
I think there might be just like only one anime that I've ever like genuinely binge watched, just because of how much everything about it gripped me, and that was C, the Money of Soul and Possibility Control.
I've never heard of it.
Okay, so imagine this. It's the surface premise is you are a kid who's going to a pretty illustrious not high school but college, and you're trying to become a civil servant. Now, the only reason you're trying to become a civil servant is because he just wants to land a civil service job that will always have a stable, comfortable income. So he will never have to worry about money. And the premise of the show is Tokyo is kind of going through a lot of like economic problems. But we have this alternate dimension in which the people do battles, but they're money battles. They're called
Oh, yes, I've actually heard of this thing.
Yeah,
Did you mention it to me? Somebody mentioned this to me at some point, but I've never looked at it. I never actually looked into it hardcore.
everybody essentially like does money battles, and I think they called it like stock exchanges. And the amount of power that you have, the amount of power that like your characters known as your assets, which was literally like JoJo stands. They literally are JoJo stands, but uh, they are the personifications of all of your money, or all one big pool of money that you have. Uh, you combat your assets with another person who wishes to engage in like a stockbroker battle. Now, if anybody loses, you lose all your money. All of the money you have becomes lost, and you go broke, and you are never allowed to return back to the realm of money. But the people who win, you earn all of your opponent's money.
Mm-hmm.
That's like an all for nothing gamble. It sounds like it would suck.
A little bit. Somebody was explaining to me. I think Kenneth explained it to me. I don't know, because he likes money. He joked about him being wearing yarmulkes and going around with abacuses.
For some reason, the premise sounds kind of like a Baka to Test, though.
Somewhat,
Baka
but
no test. What?
It wasn't that the show basically. Is it the English name Wolfenspice?
No.
No.
That's Spice and Wolf. That's a completely
Wolfenspice,
different thing.
yes.
No, the show that I'm talking about is kind
It's
of the
a-
same premise, except it's a school that's and like their fighting is based on their test scores.
And they had
I think
little
I've heard of
chibi.
that.
They had little chibi characters and shit. Yeah. Like a person's pocket test or something like that, which is what is it, something test. Yeah.
Chibis only exist in the realm of short ovas or comedy slice of life shows. They don't exist anywhere else.
Wrong, you'd be wrong.
I mean, hey, Berserk did like a little bit of a chibi thing, but
With fucking Puck.
no, not Puck. Well, this is very, very recent, but the latest chapters have come out. I don't know if anybody is too up to date on Berserk.
Nope, but I'm gonna watch
Casca,
season 3.
Casca essentially, all of her brain was essentially destroyed after the eclipse scene, after the eclipse whole event.
After the eclipse climax.
So, like, everything about her like psyche was
Completely fucking destroyed, yeah.
like shattered to bits. And finally Shirke figured out a way of she essentially figured out what like quarterly happened, like in the astral sense. Her memories became fragmented and they were launched across the astral. And what the like her psyche was personified in the sense of a doll, a small, broken, shattered doll that was inside a coffin, and on top of the coffin was the insignia of the hawk. And the coffin was continuously dragged forward across this barren, void astral plane by a large black hound that doesn't have its right paw anymore. And occasionally the hound is full of scars and wounds, and it has a lot of like crackled black spears sticking out of its back. And on occasion these bat-like terrifying specters would come to attempt to attack the coffin and attack the dog. Now whenever the coffin was even touched, the hound would go absolutely crazy and would kill anything and everything around it, which was essentially the astral personification of Guts leading Casca on the journey to attempt to restore her psyche. Now, finally, what happens is, big spoilers, if anybody is so into Berserk and has been following the chapters closely,
I'm gonna hate you. But
big
yeah, go on.
spoilers. Do not listen further than this point.
Too bad
What
I can't do that.
What essentially,
Right?
I mean, I'm sure I'm sure I can figure this out unless you're gonna throw me for a loop here. Let's see how.
what essentially happens is they find all the pieces of her psyche and they put it back together, and they find Casca's heart in the midst of like the worst parts of this astral personification. What then happens is like her heart is completely surrounded by these horrible black thorns, and nothing can remove the thorns. Shirkei tries, nothing is making them come off, but they can still take the heart, and they put the heart back into the doll. They put all of the last remnants and pieces of the doll's fragmented chips together, and finally they make the doll whole again. And finally, at the end, Casca wakes up. Her memories, her mind, her everything, it's restored. Now, the problem about this is it goes back to the fact that those thorns around her heart, these essentially,
Yep.
her fucking like PTSD cubed, it's still with her. None of that is going away, and it points back to what Skull Knight was talking about, and the whole like you guys wish her to come back, but your wish may not exactly be her wish, and it points to the fact it's like this is why she devolved into a potato child in the first place. She was not about any of the things that were going on in her brain.
Yeah. Well, also, it was a big fucking deal to survive the eclipse in the first place. What's worse, fucking be baby injected by fucking Griffith, who was also one of your loves of your life, basically. And that's the other reason why, I'm sure, like, her heart is also torn because she still, I'm sure, has feelings for Griffith.
The horrible thing about it is it just, if anybody like caught on to the story early on and now you like see like what happens during the eclipse, it's a betrayal that trumps all betrayals.
It's a betrayal that Donald trumps everything.
It Donald trumps all of it. Griffith,
it does.
essentially, when he met her, he saved her from being raped. He gave her his sword and essentially gave her the means to fight back and save herself from being raped. Their meeting, the day that Griffith met Casca, was to save her from being raped, and the eclipse was just, well, we all know what happens.
The eclipse is just remember when I saved you from rape? I'm now evil. I'm gonna rape you.
About that. Remember when I saved you from rape? About that.
Fucking reminds me of the scene on in the anime whenever the horse is about to fucking the fucking Christian girl, the Holy See girl, Farnese. She's always going to get raped like every 2 seconds by some sort of beastie. Every time.
Mira truly like because of like Guts's character, because of how like godly of a problem solver he is, it's gonna be super but I feel like Miura is literally just throwing this as like a stressed obstacle towards Guts. Like, how far can you keep Farnese from being raped? How long can you keep that shit up?
How long can you keep every woman that you know and maybe have any sort of feelings for from getting raped or tortured or murdered or anything?
The funny thing is that me and Chipper were talking about this quite a bit when after he watched Berserk, about like the fact that she escaped from rape and then ended up getting raped by the person that saved him. It is a very interesting plot point, indeed.
Yeah. No, what's gonna be great is this season, spring season. Oh, I'm so fucking pumped. We get Attack on Titan. We get fucking Berserk season 3. We get fucking. I think we also get Tokyo Ghoul as well. Some other good ones. We got a lot of good shit coming down the pipe.
Wasn't it like a spinoff of Tokyo Ghoul that's coming out?
I'm not sure if it's a spinoff or if it actually is also Tokyo Ghoul. It's
I know like a spinoff. It did happen, which was Tokyo Ghoul Jack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
was did anybody see that?
No, I don't. I
don't think
didn't.
I
I don't
have.
think I did. I think I might have seen some bits and pieces. Isn't it about like the fucking crazy kid, but like they're all in school or something? Isn't that what it is? Some weird
Tokyo
shit.
Ghoul Jack is essentially like that's Kisho Arima's like that was like the whole like we're focusing on him, we're focusing on why he is the literal god of death for any ghoul in existence, and kind of it had like a whole build up and exposition as to how he became a ghoul investigator to begin with, how
Yeah,
he
so
became
it
as
was the
powerful
kid
as
in
he
the
is.
school. Yeah, that's what I thought. I had seen bits and pieces of it. I never actually sat down and watched it because it just. I guess I didn't really care too much. I don't know. But yes. All right, guys, we have to keep fucking moving along here. Are you watching any anime that is currently airing?
Right now,
This is the
I
longest.
am.
Fucking. We're just going ham, and I like this though. It's like good, engaging conversation. I always like engaging conversation.
I don't like to be plain and simple, you know me.
There you go.
Right now, what's kind of on my watch list really is just a lot of Crunchyroll did a kind of thing where they were showcasing 30 different animations made by various animators from like France and Germany and Bulgaria and shit.
Really,
And
I didn't know that. But that's not
I'm kind of
anime,
going
sadly.
through
But yes.
I'm going through all of that because it's looking super interesting, and a lot of what comes out of it is really like I never knew people were so capable of fucking just pumping out these animated miracles. In my wholly biased opinion, but proper anime wise, what I'm watching right now is just Boku no Hero Academia and closely following Berserk. And that's it. That's just it. See,
You forgot the Ancient Magus Bride, man. Come on now. The season
well,
that's currently airing.
I watched some of it, but when
But,
you're a working guy, when you're a man who's got a job,
this is my
who's got a
job.
family,
Sad face.
when when you gotta work and when you gotta work a whole fuck ton, just I like I used to relish my high school days where I could essentially take several different animes and watch them back to back to back to back, and those would be my series. At then, I relish those days when I could, but nowadays because I'm a working stiff and I gotta work to keep the food in my tummy and to make sure that the landlord doesn't come and kick me out and to make sure that the lights don't go off. I like kind of in this predicament, I have no choice but to either pick one, two animes max and just stick to them. And even the ones I have, I watch as haphazardly as possible.
Oh yeah. Oh, that reminds me. Boku no Hero 3 is coming out this spring season too.
Of course it is.
Yes.
Yes, we're gonna
It's gonna-
finally see
Wait,
Toxic
isn't
Chainsaw.
is that also in the fucking new season of shit? What was it? One Punch Man is coming out too.
Yeah, maybe. I don't remember,
Is it
but
was
maybe
either that or summer?
something.
It's gonna
This
be
year.
probably summer, just because. Well, one, he's weird. He's a weirdo who has weird pacing for even how he works.
Yeah, that's true. I want more
I
Mob
mean,
Psycho 100. Shit's good.
The One Punch Man comic is a webcomic that he just does on his free time. Like there's no actual real effort that goes towards it, which is
I
very
mean,
strange for how well it's made.
I don't think he like puts effort into his illustration, just because you can clearly see that he's no mangaka and he knows it, and he knows that he can't like really draw, but like where he fails in illustration and manga production, he excels beyond limit in story crafting and just it's very generic. It's very generic superhero plot, and the whole premise behind Saitama is pretty generic when you like whittle it down to its most core fundamentals. But he makes it engaging. He makes the stories desirable. He makes the plot points very, very addictive to watch and to want to watch and to want to know. Okay, like what's going to be the next overarching story transition tide, and who's going to be the next big villain, and what's going to be the next a tragic self-conflict that Saitama is going to go through.
Hey, would you say though that Saitama is strangely relatable for how powerful he is? Because I know you're saying that overpowered characters are not relatable in the least.
Well, it's like he is in terms of like his kind of superhero side, super duper relatable. Not super duper unrelatable because fucking I did 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 sit-ups, and then a 3-mile run, and only ate bananas and kept my AC off for 3 years too. But I didn't fucking grow any superpowers. I just grew a hernia. But 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 the way that he makes this very plaid, uninterested, unmotivated, kind of early 20s guy who doesn't really have any direction in life, doesn't know how to build any direction in life, and suffers really, really like hard cutting internal conflict because of that. And on top of like the fact that he's taken the superheroing as his hobby, and yet still comes across these hurdles of not having any sense of like direction or plans for the future, or really any motivation, like true motivation towards himself. That is what makes Saitama relatable beyond relation, because there is not a single human being on this planet who hasn't faced at least one mental obstacle that Saitama routinely goes through in the entire show. It's amazing.
Yeah, very true. Let's see. So, how many episodes do you like to see an anime have, if you especially enjoy it?
If I'm really, really into the show, but if I'm super duper into the show, I want it to be One Piece. I don't want to ever
Fucking One Piece, yes.
But the way about it is, I feel like some stories, some story structures, and some construction frames for how certain animes are made, some of them warrant them being multiple seasons with several like 20 to 30 episodes per season. Some of them like warrant
like Boku
that.
no Hero,
of course, but some series definitely warrant like single season runs, or just a couple of episodes and then that's it, or maybe like 2 or 3 ovas and then that's it. A beautiful example that comes to my mind for this is definitely the Hellsing series. I don't think that show required anything above what it already had. That was perfectly enough. And if they attempted to drag it into, an entire season to like 20, 30 episode seasons on multiple seasons, that just would have ruined any momentum that the show had managed to build up. So, the personal opinion, if my favorite animes could have trillions and trillions of seasons and trillions of episodes, I would go for it. But I've sort of come to understand and really, really respect the limitations that certain animes should have, and the fact that these limitations won't necessarily, not for all, they're not necessarily going to hinder it. They're not necessarily going to break any plot gravity or any plot substance, but really they're going to wrap it up neatly, and they're going to give a lot of a word that starts with A, but a lot of quality to the story over. Like for instance, Nichijou. Nichijou had so much beautiful slapstick that they wrapped up into, what was it, like 3 seasons?
No idea.
Beautiful slapstick. They did all the funny jokes. They did all the crazy, wacky animation reel. It did everything right with the amount of time it was given. So if they continued it would have gotten dry. It would have gotten so dry. But if Parasite had, maybe just like a couple of overs or anything, I would have been like, well, what the hell? Where does this go? What about the Parasite? What's gonna happen with it? What about what was his name? Nishiki? Was it? I keep forgetting the names of characters. I like cannot.
Which character? The main character of Parasite?
Yeah, Parasite. Yeah.
I think it actually was Nishiki because I know Migi was the fucking Parasite.
And I would have been severely disappointed with the lack of exposition and the lack of further seasons that they get, or the further amount of episodes that they gave it, just because it would leave so much up to this not very good realm of mystery. There's shows that you can leave certain parts of your show up to the realm of mystery, and it would create a lot of like actual legitimate meaning to them. But then there are certain shows where if you leave it into the realm of mystery, then your show just is poo-poo garbo. Complete poo-poo garbo.
Talking about them cliffhangers.
Well, not just cliffhangers, but it's like, for instance, what's a good show that kind of like did not have a fucking good at all ending? Death Note. I wouldn't say that was a cliffhanger, but they left a lot just up in the air, and not in a good way, because any possibility for like answers that they had, they chose to disregard in favor of quickly ending the series. And anything that could have, maybe anything that could have made the fact that not Kira, but Light, well, they are the same person, but anything that could have made Light getting caught good, they scrapped in favor of a speedy finish. Which, what? Okay, so N Nier fucking put together a couple of dots. He for some reason cross-referenced like 2 or 3 murders, and randomly decided that what was his face? The long-haired cunt. What was his name?
Talking about the hardcore fan.
Yes. What was his name?
I don't remember his fucking name. I know who you're talking about though.
The dude that fucking did stuff for him.
We're gonna call him Momo. Momo No Mercy, because he had no mercy. For no reason, for no discernible reason, Nier just picks Momo out as like, yeah, that's the key guy, and they just, in this tripe way, segue that to, well, it's Light. We know it's Light, and they do this, in my opinion, bullshit switcheroo with the fake and real notebooks to somehow catch him red-handed, where the entire kind of banking that they had for figuring out that it was Light was the fact that they knew that Momo was one of the guys that was behind it. And they figured, well, Momo is going to oust him by proving that, well, the notebooks we've switched out, they're confirmed to have been used by the killer, and all that, blah 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 blah. None of it made sense. It was literally an ass pull to trump all ass pulls. IMO.
Interesting. Well, so on that note, I mean, you basically kind of answered this question. What animes do you feel should have had more seasons, and what animes do you feel should have had less? Kind of deal.
The shows that should have had more seasons, I think, this is going to be a controversial one, maybe, but Bleach.
Bleachy?
Bleach. I feel like they could have had a couple of extra seasons, because
I feel like if they cut out some of the random fillers that just like fucked with the flow of the show, it would have been
replace
fantastic.
the fillers with canon scenes, we would have no problem. But what?
Yeah.
You know what? Just for the sake of giving anime YouTubers something to make a funniest moments compilation out of, I would leave it. Just give him a couple of extra seasons to, make Aizen's defeat real, because he just became super powerful. Superpower made his superpowers go away in the end, and he beat Aizen. There was so much potential for build-up between it. Like, the whole training segments with that stupid dude's big boob sister who was a tomboy, that really, really made the entrance into Soul Society all the better. And their little
big-titted sister, excuse me? What?
Yeah, remember the girl that trained them how to do the spirit cannonball bullshit?
Nope. Absolutely nothing.
Have you watched Bleach? Do you know?
I haven't watched Bleach in forever. I dropped it whenever they were in fucking... Was it Wakamundo? No. Yes. Yeah. Wakamundo before I even got to the fucking, like, good fights because because in the middle of the Wakamundo arc it fucking fillered and then never continued in English and I was like, alright, done.
The whole thing should be in English now.
Yeah, it probably is now, finally, but still.
Time to go back.
Too late.
The anime still hasn't covered... I don't think the anime is caught up to the point where he fucking goes Quincy and shit, did it?
No.
Yeah,
Not
no.
at all.
I already know about that.
I mean, you just want to watch up to the point where it's like right before the last arc, because the last arc was kind of shit. But the arc before the last one kind of tied everything up pretty nicely.
Yes.
But then we have another controversial pick, a show that could have really, really done to have less seasons, Naruto.
Again, same filler problem. Like, honestly,
same filler problem, but like, bruh, they had Kill la Kill's issues, but not in the good way. Over expanding on so many seasons and over expanding on so much that could have used the time to create better scenes, better fight scenarios, better story sequences. So much was sunken into exposition that a lot of people, I feel, ended up ignoring. Because
you mean like I did? I fucking used to love Naruto to death. And then, like, stopped after the fucking tuning exams, kind of because it just kind of, like, trailed off super hard. I was like, this is dumb. Which I believe is actually where Shippuden takes off, is, a little bit after the tuning exams.
Ha ha ha, Shippuden.
Shippuden, yes. But I didn't even touch Shippuden because of what fucking Naruto did. I was just like, nope, no. Even though I hear that Shippuden actually turned out pretty good.
It actually is pretty good.
Shippuden turned out only well because of two characters and their dynamics, Madara and Hashirama.
Mm-hmm.
I will stand to say, and I will fight any Naruto fans who disagree with me. Meet me in the parking lot after class. But Madara essentially, to me, saved all of Shippuden, because all of his dramatic buildup was amazing. All of his character prevalence and his character significance to the story, even when he still wasn't in it, made the entire show all the more better. His history gave such beautiful tension to all the kind of like big us versus them war fight that Kishimoto was trying to egg on towards, but mostly the beautiful way of how, despite very little of his history being known, what was known throughout the story gave his character huge impact, to the point where Tsunade explains just how serious Madara as a person was, even in death, to the point where it's like, not only is Madara powerful, his name is powerful. The sole fact that his name was tossed around made all 5 great nations come into war. This was a person who, by virtue of having existed, drew all 5 great nations into a 4th massive war. his name alone was power, and his the idea of him alone was terrifying power that could not be matched by anybody. And they justified it. They justified all of his power. They justified his character. They justified his motives, his reasons, all of his actions, and truly put all of the proper plot weight into his character that saved Shippuden. But alas, they fucked him up. Studio Period and Kishimoto could not resist, as they did with all of their characters, on fucking his whole shindig up. And I don't like the whole fact of him awakening the Rinnegan. That was fine. That was fine. But the whole thing of him trying to become the Sage of Six Paths, that ruined it. That ruined it, because then he became a god mod for no reason. That is when he devolved into the territory of, okay, now you're overpowered for absolutely no reason. Everything about your character is now ruined and destroyed.
Hmm.
I
Alrighty.
still need to get past the Great War, to be honest.
So, what do you feel was the saddest anime that you've seen?
The saddest anime I've ever seen, huh, it's going to definitely go towards. I don't know if we consider this an anime or more like an animation film, but it was made by it was the same guys who did Fate. They did that little animation film where you have a boy and you have that girl who's deaf, and they have that whole dynamic between each other.
Fuck,
And
I
they,
haven't seen that one. The one that's
Silent
supposed to be
Voice?
really good.
the
Yeah,
silent voice. That was the most saddest show you could
Oh,
ever
yeah.
do. I
Never,
don't.
never watched it. I'm gonna have to watch it just so I can sit
It's
there
so
and not
good.
cry. Fucking, I don't know, man. Fucking, like, we'll have to see how moving it is. If it's about as moving as Ancient Magus Pride, which actually made me cry
You
like
know,
5 times in the beginning.
Something
Yeah.
I hate is the anime community regards your name higher than a silent voice. I'm just like,
That's
that
because your
doesn't
name
give a
has been
shit
around
compared to
longer.
it.
All right, bro. What other show could the community name that could take a deaf girl trying to sporadically talk, and who else could do that and make you feel as uncomfortably sad as Silent Voice did? Nobody.
I know. Like it was great.
So on the flip side of that question, what do you feel is the most happy / upbeat anime that you've seen? By the way, that counts as an anime because it's still Japanese anime, even if it is a movie.
The most upbeat one?
Happy / upbeat, either whatever.
Easy. Shonen Ashibe Go Go Goma-chan.
What?
What is this?
I was like, never heard of it.
This is literally the story of Ashibe, Ashiya, and he has a baby seal as a pet named Goma-chan.
Let me look this up. What the fuck was it called again?
Go Go Goma-chan.
Dear Lord have mercy. I don't want to look it up. Don't
It
do this
is
to me.
the most wholesome, wonderful tale about a little boy and his pet baby seal. Everything about the show will transform your everything about your soul into
I
butter.
can't find it.
Oh no. Go ahead and look it on Twitch if you find it, Sid. I guess.
Yelp.
Hey. I don't want to be melted to butter. I can't melt. I am pure evil personified. I am the darkness that is the night. I shall not be consumed by the light.
No, you gotta watch the show and just really let the wholesomeness take you in. It doesn't
Nope.
really have any kind of plot. It's just one of those shows where you have a setting, an environment, characters, and he just goes on all kinds of little wholesome, wacky adventures with his pet seal friend. There's one episode where he goes to a sauna to go to the hot baths with his little seal friend, and he loves and has so much fun with. Yes, that's that right there. You got it. He loves and
What
has so
happened?
much fun swimming around the warm water, but then he realizes that it's a seal. It's way like they're biologically and naturally pre-made to be in cold water, and so he starts to feel a little down. And then Ashibe is all like, "Oh no, my little seal, he's getting sick! Quick, I gotta put him in some colder water." And then the seal feels better again, and you just feel so great,
Did you link it,
about it.
Heike? Did somebody link it?
I didn't link it. No, I just found a. 1 second. I'll bring up the Master Annie page for it though.
Okay. I was gonna say, did somebody find it? Is like chat not showing up for me correctly? Am I missing people talking? Can't tell. I don't know. Whatever. But still, yeah. And you know, that sounds odd and different, so it's like a fucking, what did we call those, where they just kinda have their own season of an adventure, I guess? Like, where every fucking episode is completely different in an adventure. No, like,
You know,
real plot
I will
story.
say on this note though that my friend was obsessed with like this little about a TV show about this little cat. I forgot what the fuck it was called though. It was a little kid anime too.
Is my fucking
Neko
restream
Neko
chat broken?
Nihonshi?
I don't know.
It's like,
I don't remember the name.
English escapes me. Yeah,
It's it was just like it was all about this little cat.
Oh, Koneko no Chi Ponpora Dairyoko?
Hmm.
Is it
It
the
was
one with
on
the
it was on
cat and all the
Crunchyroll.
girls? The like fucking 5-minute long ones?
No. Fuck no.
Okay, no, the beauty about Neko Neko Nihonshi is essentially it's Japanese historical fiction.
The fuck?
But what if every single person in Japanese like history was a cute chibi neko,
Oh no.
like an actual cat?
I think I
So,
actually saw some of that stuff.
so like the warlords
I
during
found
like
it.
the military periods, such as Oda Nobunaga, he's a fucking cat. Sakamoto Ryoma, great legendary samurai, he's a cat.
Cat.
Historical figures such as Queen Himeko, also a cat.
Interesting.
All right, so I found it. It's the cat's name is Chi from Chi's Sweet Home.
She's sweet. I think I've heard that.
Interesting.
Also, that the anime that you brought up earlier is not on Master Annie. God damn it.
Yeah. So, what is your least liked genre and why?
Least liked genre has to be I don't like okay, I'll be ready to get crucified. I really don't like shows like Pokemon where
Crucifixion.
okay.
No, I'm kidding.
Like where the premise is a bunch of kids are capturing monsters and we're just using monsters for like battles and adventures and shit. I really don't like anything about that, just
So,
because like
like,
Pokemon
Digimon
was
and
kind
shit?
of Pokemon was the and Digimon were kind of the first iterations of this kind of show making, and they were kind of the only ones who really did it like correctly, and everything else after that has just been god awful tripe. Like for instance, Yokai Watch, shit. Puzzle and Dragon, shit. Beyblade Burst Chozetsu, shit. Waka Okami wa Shuko get Waka Okami wa Shuko Kisai, shit.
I agree with you on majority of those.
You know
though
what you
I
should
still
see?
think Blade was
ZX.
fantastic.
You should watch ZX Ignition. It's an anime
Hell
based off
no.
of a
Is
card
that
game.
Yu-Gi-Oh bullshit? Hell no.
Yeah, it's like a Yu-Gi-Oh knockoff, but not. It's actually
Wait.
interesting, and I really liked it. It was about
Wait,
like
GX Ignition was where they're like
ZX.
that was a whole like they took it to like motorcycles and shit, right?
No. You're thinking about Yu-Gi-Oh GX. I think it's what you're thinking about. No.
Oh
no.
wait, ZX is where they have that stupid kid with the purple hair, right?
Also no. No, ZX Ignition is where like there are all these monsters. It's another card game anime for sure, but it's like all these monsters come out of these fucking balls that are from like basically another dimension, and like they're basically slaughtering the human race in the beginning and stuff like that, and they make pacts with the people on their own. It's actually really good for a card anime. It made me want to look into the card game, even though the card game just looked like complete shit. But the anime was actually good. And like it had kind of a real story that was kind of decent. It was pretty good.
Wasn't there a card game that's kind of similar to that, like Bakugan or some shit?
Yes. Oh, Bakugan, I remember that. Fucking
Bakugan Brawl! I don't know.
I'm going to send my little magnetic ball out. It will turn into a Megazord. Hiya!
Yeah, no, I didn't fucking watch Bakugan or anything. But no, the fucking monsters were people. They were real people that were just materialized all the time. They weren't like... Yeah, and also the fact that they came when the fucking balls, appeared on the planet, they fucking slaughtered everybody. It's pretty interesting. For a card game anime, it definitely was not kid-like. It was definitely pretty fucking hardcore. It's pretty good. I recommend checking it out and just giving it a watch. It's give it a good 3-episode rule. Watch for 3 episodes, see if you like it, and not fucking toss it. It's fine. But I actually enjoyed it, surprisingly. Because I didn't know what it was at first, and then I was like, I'm sitting there watching, and I was like, is this a card game? I was like, I feel like this is a card game. And I was like, I swear to fucking God. And then I googled it, and I was like, no! And then like Rage of Bahamut is actually a fucking card game, but it's a decent anime, like multiple series. The first Rage of Bahamut fucking Genesis is great.
Everything about this synopsis just screams, what if we took Pokemon, Bakugan, and gave it a super dark, edgy twist for the tweens?
And I like it. Fuck off. At the edgelord, yeah.
So just make the anime dark as possible. You'll find an audience for it.
Yeah, no, I liked it. It was pretty.
I thought it was pretty. Any anime dark as possible, there are waves upon waves upon waves of middle schools that will be lining up for Blu-ray releases.
I'm gonna raise my hand here. I'm not in middle school. I am a fucking adult, but I like dark shit. So yeah.
I like death.
Same.
Fun.
Dark, death, gruesome, fucking. Really, I like Eviscera, like fucking people getting brutally destroyed in animes.
Yeah, I mean, I love Berserk. Who you think?
Yeah, basically Berserk. That's Berserk in a nutshell. Yes.
I love Berserk, but it's like I like reason with my blood. I like to put a little sugar in my tea, if you know what I'm saying.
I like to put a nice little kid that doesn't get murdered in your anime. Is that what you're looking for?
I like to kiss my comrade while I'm raping.
Oh my God! For fuck's sake! Woo! I love that. That was beautiful. Anyway, so on the other notes, I guess we were talking about earlier. So, what is your least liked anime and why?
Least like anime ever in the world got to be... Oh, I'm about to tread on some fucking ice.
And before you say something that a lot of people have said already, let's go.
The funny thing is, majority of people that say that, we end up agreeing with them anyway.
I know, right?
I mean,
You're not gonna hurt our feelings.
I don't know what. One of the animes I really, really, really didn't like was one of the Gataris, specifically Monogatari, the first one, the very first Monogatari season.
The Bakemonogatari?
Bakemono, the first iteration of that. I love the series now, as a whole, and some parts of it more than others. And I love the director's brilliance behind it. But Bakemonogatari, the first one, I don't like it. It's Popo Garbo. It's nothing but just a bunch of pseudo-artistic fucking... Ooh, look, we're artsy and cryptic still frame transition shots with a lot of obscure music and just gratuitous amounts of nonsensical fan service and these slice of life elements that just get thrown around for no reason. I feel like that first episode, not the first episode, but the first season just genuinely had no goddamn sense of where we're trying to go or what we're trying to be. Are we trying to be cryptic? Are we trying to be obscure? Are we trying to be edgy? Are we trying to be nuanced? Are we trying to be lowbrow? Are we trying to be minimalist? Are we trying to be slice of life? Are we trying to be psychological? Are we trying to be high score, lowly sister Wincest fan service? Are we trying to be wacky and ridiculous? I don't fucking know. And there's no direction to the show at all.
I loved it all. Fuck you.
The show is bad, and if you like it, you are a potato. You are a potato, and you deserve to be peeled like one.
Oh, beautiful. Let's see if he can fucking rage me. I've never seen it, so
You say my favorite anime is bad!
That's actually
That's okay, because your waifu is trash.
That's not even. I think it's one of his favorite series, but like, nah, his favorite series.
Gentlemen,
is fucking...
all right, let's just admit the one thing that we all know deep in our hearts: all anime is bad. All anime is goddamn awful.
Was a mistake.
Nope. Traitor. Nope.
No, stop it!
Burn the non-believer. Torch him. Lord have mercy.
All anime is, at the end of the day, bad, but
no.
You know what? They know how to be bad they know how to be bad good. You know what? Anime is bad good.
Oh my god, no.
Well, you say all anime is bad, that would also include fucking Evangelion.
Oof.
Correct, but all anime is bad good. Except Neon Genesis Evangelion. Evangelion can do no wrong. Original NGE, it's objectively good. And any negative opinion about it is just, well, you just don't know shit about shit, and you have a Lego for a brain.
You just said all anime was bad.
Correct, except NGE. It is objectively good. Everything about it is fantastic and amazing. It's absolutely awesome. It does everything correct. It can do no wrong, and it will never be bad, no matter how many years go by. And anybody who says otherwise has a Lego brick brain.
You see, there's multiple places where you're wrong. And let me start here. Cowboy Bebop. But
Very
anyway.
good show. Not
I know.
better than NGE.
Not fucking so good. But no, that's not even my favorite. Everybody recognizes it as a fucking good show. It is a universally good show.
It's like Cowboy Bebop and Full Metal Alchemist, known as the absolute greatest anime ever to be shown, along with Evangelion.
I mean, Cowboy Bebop is really good because it's like, not only is it...
Am I still here?
to anybody.
Oh god, that was a hard fucking break. Alrighty. Still here. Everything's good.
Woo! But it's like, not only is it like really good as a whole plot itself, but it's very easily digestible in the sense of like you can show it to anybody. You can really show Cowboy Bebop to anybody, and you don't really have to worry about like any of the scenes coming off as like too awkward or too cringy or too I'm gonna embarrass myself if I show people this.
See, meanwhile, I'm over here like, let's watch this fucking ecchi harem. Enjoy. I did that in front of a chick's fucking like mom, and like she seemed to like it, and it was pretty funny. I thought
the mom liked a harem ecchi anime.
No. Her mom was like, "The fuck is this?" And I'm like, "This is turn around, breaks neck, spin backward. This is Japanese anime."
What the fuck is it, ma'am?
No,
this is called art.
Do you see all this lovely plot bouncing around?
Dude, we gotta have like a group viewing of the whole entire High School DxD before the new season comes out.
Oh, fucking High School DxD.
Before they just start fucking entirely, because
I'm waiting for it.
We know where this is going. I mean, at first it just started out, well, let's get some flashes, let's get some thigh shots, let's get some cleavage, bust. Then it came to, okay, well, we'll show them naked, we'll show full, like mostly nudity, full nudity, and then season 3 it was like, okay, we can show some groping, we can show some grabbing, we can show some hand sliding, we can have the main character literally just go on the bed and be like, bro, smash this pussy. Bro, take that dick, ream this pussy.
Dude, fucking, that was the original intention of the person that wrote the fucking light novels, but his publisher wouldn't let him.
Oh, so he was just literally gonna go like, okay, season 1, season 2, season 3, ooh,
no.
Season 4, X-rated.
No, he was like, he like the original like the author that made the light novels. He wanted it to go all hentai, like from season 1.
Oh, so he just straight up wanted the intro to have like a spreading vagina.
Exactly. That's how he wanted it to happen, but his like the publisher was like, nope.
Publisher was like, you just can't have like a full spread vagina on the intro, right? But why not?
Are you sure I can't? But what if I make it an innuendo? What if they're just in a giant pink room? There's also somebody's vagina.
So basically, like the author just did as much as the publisher would let him.
It's basically like
put full fucking vagina on. I'll show him.
It's basically like the animes recently with the publishers. They were actually all really good slice of life, which I did enjoy those. The publisher animes, fucking all the little sister ones, fucking pretty hilarious. Arrow Manga Sensei, and then the all you need is a little sister. Yep, good fucking god.
I try to be a fucking normal, socially functionable human being who can get other girls when you can just have a girl who's like by default attracted to you.
Yeah,
because of Oedipus complexes.
I have one of those. I mean, not like a sibling, like that thing, but no, I mean, like I have women that are attracted to me unanimously.
Do you have a cute emoto?
No. Anyway. She is around. She exists. I'm sure. No, she's not actually here. For once. Okay, cool. She's always watching. Yeah, Katie.
You need to tell me that you don't have a cute little emoto that you would like specifically ream anally?
Yes, I specifically.
What kind of fucking casual art?
Fuck. Lord have mercy. Speaking about casuals, how do you feel about subs versus dubs?
I will mainly go usually for subs unless I don't feel like it, and I'll go for dubs. I don't think that dubs are inherently like bad. There's nothing really bad about like our English dubbing. It's just that we're bad. The thing that it's nothing against like dub, like there's nothing wrong with like dubbed anime, but the fact of the matter is that English voice actors, like 99% of us, are really, 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 really bad. We can't voice act anime for shit. Like, we have no emotional performance. We have no expressive talent. We don't know how to differentiate between a hardline serious scene and a light kind of casual playful setting. We're bad. We're just bad.
You say that, but then we also have Spike Spiegel. Just saying.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I say 99% of us are bad. Yeah. We do have a very short 1%. Bleach, Death Note, Cowboy Bebop that does it justice, does it absolute justice. Especially, I regard Death Note as that was peak English voice acting. That was true peak English voice acting. And whatchamacallit, Blood Rain, the anime adaptation of Blood Rain was really
Blood
well.
Rain, the game.
Yeah.
I'm not remembering if I've seen it. I'm pretty sure I have, but probably have to go back and watch it. But yeah, I think so.
And I guess Naruto. I guess. But
believe it. I mean, yeah.
Believe it. I need Naruto, that motherfucking. I'm gonna be president. Believe it.
Pretty
but
much.
We're. Damn it. There's nothing wrong with English dubbing. It's fine, but I prefer subs because right now just the Japanese are are ballers at it. Oh my god. They are true virtuosos in the field of voice acting work. It's unbelievable just how immensely powerful performances they can give, just how insanely accurate the scene portrayal and expressive consistency that they can produce with their voice work, from anything from action to mystery to drama to horror to slice of life to everyday kind of like to like spooky ones to sci-fis to comedies to seinen, whatever seinen is,
It's
Seinen.
adult themed stuff.
or
That's
like
what it's,
josei or
yeah.
supernatural. It's like across all of these genres, they do them absolute justice in the voice work department. Whereas, let's say we had a voice actor try to take on the new seasons of Tokyo Ghoul Re. Oh my god, they would do it god awfully. Holy shit, we would be such ass.
You would be calling it Tokyo Ghoul Re.
Tokyo Ghoul, more like Tokyo Fool. Oh, ha, ha, ha.
Well, I mean, when you look at it though, it's like we have acting school, but they have actual voice acting school.
Well, there's also a very small pool, I believe, of American voice actors, because you hear all the same voices used. I mean, same thing really with Japanese, but like you can get, I feel like there's a bigger pool of Japanese voice actors.
Not to mention,
I'm pretty sure there is.
To me, there's this high feel, and maybe it like ties in with kind of like the cultural, natural Japanese discipline. But I feel like they give it their all, much stronger and much more pervasively and much more substantially than our American voice actors do. They
like to actually get into the role instead of just
they get into
it
the
as a
role,
job,
they get into the
basically.
character, they put much more power behind each performance. They give it their best better. Their best is much better than our best.
Another thing I'd like to say is that, like, I've seen in cases with anime shows that they work really, closely and tied with the voice actors, and they actually design the characters something like the voice actors sometimes, and that also helps out too.
Yes, Mob Psycho is a brilliant example of this when trying to make a very indifferent, nihilistic seeming, plain, no emotion, but sort of like frail, very B-type personality character Mob. They took a guy who essentially did nothing before, had nothing under his belt, had maybe just a little bit of schooling and a slight portfolio. They took a nobody to do Mob, and he did it with a crescendo of quality.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe it's them, but damn, dude, they have this mind of wanting to do their performances extremely well. And I feel like the want, the aspiration to do a performance extremely well is much more stronger, much more higher in our Japanese counterparts than in our American voice actors. But all in all, we're just bad. We're just really bad.
Speaking of bad, what are your thoughts on fan service?
Fan service is okay if that's what you're if you're honest about fan service, and if you're the kind of show where we're trying to be fan service, we're doing fan service, we're going to give fan service, or if you're the show that knows how to do like tasteful, light sprinklings of fan service, or
Like
very
the bath scenes always, like the bath scene or the fucking beach scene, whatever the fuck vacation scene that's in almost every anime. Traditional. Hey.
Of course, but it's like there's a really cool way of doing fan service in a very classy, very refined manner, such as with JoJo. Believe it or not, JoJo had a pretty good amount of fan service. All of them, like parts 1 through 4, had very kind of good amounts of fan service, and they do it so elegantly, where it's done with an artistic's brain in mind, I feel. Then fan service isn't necessarily bad. Like nothing about any kind of elements of anime are intrinsically bad, but it's like fan service is the kind of anime element where it's not easy to do it good. It's very easy to just spill it like a bucket of loli and just completely soak your bread and turn it into mushy, disgusting nothing.
See, no, the better idea here is spill it like your seed when you're lonely and you're
Exactly.
on Pornhub. Basically.
Exactly.
I was like, hold on, let me give you a better representation. Best.
Like, it's super easy to just blow your load immediately. But it's much more hard to edge it. Wait for the cut. Okay. Little children, close your ears. Close your ears right now. Little children.
This is rated
GTFO
M for mature anyway. I think High Kick's the
You're
youngest person here.
You're on teen for Mixer Boy.
This still counts as teen to me. I was fucking jacking it when I was 11. I don't really give a shit personally.
Yes.
Now tell me, was it to ecchi or to full blown?
Oh no, full blown actual porn. Sadly, I was actually not a weeb back then. I actually slowly graduated into a weeb. To be completely honest with you, I was originally not into I was into the English anime, and I used to be like, no, fuck subs, like forever. And then I slowly edged into subs because the dubs weren't coming out fast enough. I had to wait years before my shit would get dubbed. And I'm like, oh bro, this shit's out in Japanese right fucking now. I could watch it. Oh god, I like it so much I want to watch it. And then I watched it and I was like, the whole reading thing, that wasn't that bad. And then I just carried on with that, and that was the end of that story.
I think that's how a lot of people end up getting the subs.
Yeah. I was like, no, I won't be that bad. Just like my friend who has all this shit ton of manga and all these figurines. I was like, no, I won't become that much of a weeb. Has 2 waifu body pillows and a bunch of figurines. Most of the figurines came from Loot Crate, to be fair, though. They're pretty decent quality, so.
I mean, I just got into the subs because, well, like any artist, I gravitate towards the good stuff. I gravitate towards the stuff that is gonna look and is gonna feel very, very good. And I recognized, wow, the Japanese are infinitely better than us.
I mean, realistically and inherently, anime is Japanese, so I would hope so. Although we as Americans,
for the day.
We as Americans do steal, improve, and adapt on things. I mean, half of our technology is fucking stolen and just made better, and then we outdid people because of it, in most wars and stuff.
See, we're better at the computers and the trucks, but when it comes to jiggling some big ass titties on screen, Nihon.
I wouldn't say that we're better at fucking computers than anybody else. We get shit on in our fucking cyber divisions. Our cyber fucking defense in our entire country is a joke.
No, I mean, we're pretty good at advancing technology. We're just
okay, yeah.
We're just not too good at being advanced in technology.
We're good. No. The real answer is we're good at throwing shit tons of money at things until something happens. That's literally what we do.
We require shit tons of money to go do remarkable things, really.
Yeah. Well, if you think about most of the shit that's done, it's just somebody in America, either the government or something, for instance, military, they're like, alright, so we're gonna throw money at this block and it's gonna become an airplane. You, random college kid from fucking MIT, we're gonna throw stacks of money at you to turn this into a fucking killing machine. Here's money. That was
essentially how Agent Orange was made. Literally, one small group of biochemical researchers at the University of Virginia were trying to make a compound to kill weeds and stuff, and the government just came at them and they were like, "Hey, look, we're gonna give you these fat stacks, make this into a poison.
We're gonna give you these fat stacks, make this kill people too." Maybe, I guess.
President comes at you like, "Hey, baby, look at all this ice. Come over here and make me some technological innovations."
Pretty much. And that's all that happens. I mean, that's what I'm like. People get fucking drafted straight out of MIT into like DARPA and all of their fucking robots, and they have drones and things. Lockheed Martin, all those people.
Funny enough, because I made a documentary about this like a while ago. DARPA wasn't actually everybody from MIT being enlisted. It was essentially a bunch of people from MIT coming to the U.S. Department of Defense and saying, "Hey, if you give us fat stacks, we will make you innovations." And that's what happened.
See, I kind of want to do that, but the technologies and the things in my head that I want to make are very bad for humanity as a whole, and I already know how bad we are as a nation and the things we do. I'd rather not give us any more technology. I'm gonna build it my goddamn self in a fucking salt flat in the middle of nowhere and have fun. They're gonna figure it out very quickly with the scale of the project I want to do. But
I'm straight up just making an Ava.
No, I mean that's basically what I'm gonna do. Is I'm gonna make a giant robot.
I want to have a huge Ava. I want it to be able to initiate third impact whenever.
No, stop right there.
People running around like in their Lamborghinis and shit. It's like, this is how you get bitches, and you're just like sitting there like, nah, that's some weak shit. This
Bust out with this 50 billion foot robot, like, "Hey girl, look at my ride."
Hey girl, look at my ride. It's also consequently a girl, but hey, I don't need to pick up chicks.
Hey,
I am
girl,
it is a chick.
"Hey girl, my car got a gender. Hop in and blow me."
I mean, these days, yeah, that would be useful. Oh boy. So now's the point in the thing that we finally got through the list of fucking questions we took forever for. Hee hee. We open up the floor for you to ask us questions. Get to know, us. If you have any questions, that is.
What is your favorite scene from Boku no Pico?
The whole thing. All
I
of it.
was gonna say most of it. I can't say all of it though. I mean that's a fucking scrubby McFled answer. No, I think honestly, where we're at, like, where he goes full cowling finally. I mean, like a lot of the other things, the other good scenes are like when he's just fighting and fucking tearing up his body to do everything in the beginning. Because he, can't control his power very well, and then he tries to go through it, like using his fingers sparingly and shit, but he's breaking every single one of them. Also, the fact that shit's got to be extremely painful. It's just like Ultra Balls to the max.
Everything about Devilman Crybaby's art style made me chum.
What?
The animation style that it did. Oh man.
I haven't seen it. I thought about looking into it on the NetDix. I just haven't touched it yet.
I've gone like ahead to just like watch the final episode, like the whole final climactic scene, and it's gotta be. Mwah. That show is amazing. I love it. I love everything that it does and everything that's about it.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Got any more questions for us?
Was there a mistake in my mind when you said that? Because in my mind, I swear to God, you said Boku no Pico.
Yes,
he said Boku no Pico originally.
That's what I thought.
And then he randomly said fucking the fucking thing.
Because the way you were talking about it, it was like
he's like Boku no Pico. I love Devilman Crybaby.
Yeah, but then like it sounded like you started talking about Boku no Hero, and I was just like, wait, oh, these two things related.
Boku no Pico, Boku no Deku is Boku no Pico. Thinking about
wait, no, I fucked up. I was talking about fucking Boku no Hero.
Yeah,
I didn't watch Boku no Pico. Yep. Oh well. I don't pay attention.
I would have more questions
Use English
for you, gents.
terms.
So would, but I have become a hungry boy, and I just want to fucking chew off my desk right now and swallow it.
Already?
I don't blame you. We've gone on for like almost 3 hours now.
No, it's 2. It's only 2. But it's still a long time for us because normally we don't go
Yeah,
on
we're,
this long.
we're usually done in about an hour and a half or so.
Yep. So,
Yeah.
actually, no, we're done. Shit, we get done sooner than that. Sometimes it's 30, almost 45 minutes, and then sometimes it
Yeah.
just blasts real quick. Because there's like one answer, one syllable answers and stuff like that. But I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just what it is. That's how people do. Anyway, so as my closing question, with all of this anime talk, are you interested in visiting Japan, the great homeland, the weeb mecca, the place where we all must go?
Glorious rising sun, Nihon. I don't know how to do that part.
Yeah.
But
Shin-
yeah, I definitely want to visit Japan, not only for just like all the
Weeb
anime
stuff,
bullshit,
but
but
actual
I
cultural
I
things.
so want to go restaurant hopping. Oh my god,
Oh, that too. I want to do that too.
I follow a YouTuber on YouTube known as Solo Travel Blog, and he has like videos upon videos dedicated to just a bunch of food review of Nihon. And oh my god, these people have some cuisine. Oh, I want to try every bowl of ramen. I want all the spare pork ribs. I want to go to those restaurants where they literally just bring you meat and you have a grill in the middle and you just put your meat on the grill, put veggies, put whatever you want. You got a bowl of rice, got sauces. You just mash that all together, and I want to try that like a
See,
motherfucker. I
I've
want to try
actually done that. I've done the whole meat thing. Like and when we went to the Texas Castor Die meetup, that's what we did the first time. And then me and my friend recently we went to Dallas. We went to the same place. It's a Korean barbecue place. So it's Korean, but it's the same thing. They're just like, all right, so what fucking meats do you want? And it's just like all we ever order is fucking bulgogi, which is basically kind of like teriyaki, whatever, but it's different. It's a slightly different seasoning or whatever, marinated meat. But it's so good. It's so sweet, so tasty. You just throw that shit on the grill and it cooks like almost instantly. Oh,
I just love it. It's such a like simple little thing about like here's just your food and you get to cook it yourself, but it just everything about it is so delectably desirable. All of that on top. I want to go to Japan for like a weird reason, but I want to tour all the architecture place. I want to go through all the kind of like landmark spots. I
But
really
that's not really weird. I think that's what normal people go for. Not, I think us weebs go mainly for like, I want to go to Akihabara, go fucking super weeb out,
Akihabara.
and then fucking go to all the places, the museums,
It's
all
like
that shit, and then go to maid cafes and just enjoy myself.
I want to
You know?
at least experience one maid cafe and like everything that Akihabara has to offer.
I'll
Those
go to
are
like
my
a maid
two main
cafe, but
accomplishments.
man, fuck those maid cafes. I'm in it for the pet cafes.
The fuck? Oh, like
Oh
having
yeah,
cats
I
and shit
saw
now?
I saw PewDiePie fucking went to one of those. Is like you get to I think it was like hedgehogs or something like that. You get to like pet them and shit.
You just have all these fluffy, adorable, cute little critters around you while you get to eat shortcake and drink delicious brewed coffee. Hell
Yeah.
yes, I am all about pet cafes.
There's actually a place like that I know as well in real life. My ex's fucking brother works at a cat cafe, actually, in their town. Just cats.
Pet
everywhere.
cafes have got to be like one of the most innovative and amazing ideas that have come out of like the cafe industry since like cafes were a thing.
Yeah. Speaking of cafes, I had semi an idea about opening up an internet cafe that me and Kenneth discussed. I don't know. I don't know if I want to do it here, if I want to wait and do it in like Dallas in a bigger area, but it's gonna be harder and it's gonna cost way more money that I don't have. But it's an idea.
Definitely what you should do it is keep on to that idea, but not Dallas, Houston. No, not Houston, Austin.
I was gonna say Houston, I'm gonna get fucking mugged, like on the spot. Oh, there's
No,
there's Katie.
go to Austin for it. Oh my god.
I used to live in
You'll be
Austin,
the
actually.
forever.
I used to live in Austin. It was pretty alright. I just hate fucking the driving. Oh no, I talked about you earlier, Katie. You just weren't here, think. Hello, Jesus. But, no, yeah, I lived in Dallas. I just hated the fucking drive to, like, go anywhere. It was just pure AIDS. Where in Dallas, you can go, like, everywhere and everything is accessible. It's kind of nice. Dallas feels like Austin. It's just more spread out and, like, easier to get around. Kind of. I don't know. That's why I'm looking for jobs currently. I'm looking for jobs currently in Dallas, and I'm gonna go fucking live up there and enjoy that.
I'm
Or
hoping to
Austin.
visit Texas one day. Hoping to visit Austin. I want to go to Austin. I would definitely open up something in Austin.
I mean, Austin's a pretty cool place. Yeah, man. You know, if you join our community and you come to our community meetup in Texas, hopefully me and Kenneth will be living in Dallas, and we're gonna have a fucking meetup with people. Majority of us live in Texas. By majority, I mean like 3 of the core members live in Texas.
I
Which
feel
isn't
like
saying much because Texas is huge.
I feel like at some point, like way down the line, we're probably gonna have like a Japan meetup.
Oh,
because,
man,
the
I'm
amount of
down.
weebs- the
I
amount of
wish.
weebs in this
That'd be
fucking
cool
group.
to have a fucking just giant weeb meetup in Japan with like all the people from this like Discord that are weebs, because like a large majority of the people in this Discord are fucking weebs, which isn't a problem. You know, weeb's a derogatory term, but I use it because I think it's a funny term anyway. But like, man, they're fucking nerds.
I don't even think it's like even like a derogatory term at this point because like
It's
weeb have,
supposed
like,
to
taken-
be.
It
but,
is
like,
supposed to be, but like the weeb community has taken it and making it. We've made it our own word.
Yep. And like also, you know, a lot of the like free weebs don't even care. Like, bitch, I got a fucking waifu pill and I'll fucking take pictures of her. I don't give a
Weebs
shit.
will call themselves weebs. If you like anime, you'll like, yeah, I'm a huge weeb for anime. It's like it's not even derogatory anymore in a way. It's just a descriptor word at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Basically.
Yep.
Like before, it used to kind of piss me off, and now I'm just like, whatever. I don't care anymore.
No, I like that. I like the fact that we never really delved down into like heavy levels of kind of like SJW controversy around like just a word. We got the anime community did it. What in my opinion was the best, most wholesome, the most rational, and just the overall best decision that could have been done. There's a derogatory term that's used to refer to us. Well, fine. We're just going to take it and make it ours. There you
We're
go.
gonna
What are
take
you going
it
to call
in-
us now?
That's it. What do you call us now? Yeah, that's a good point.
It's like we all kind of cared for a little bit, and then we're just like, you know what? Fuck it. Don't care anymore.
I mean,
Now all you can do is call us
cared.
faggots.
And then, you know, that actually happened the other day. I had somebody like fucking talking that shit, and I was like, nah, you're just a judgmental cunt. But you know what? It's cool. There's that. Oh, they were calling
Yeah,
me
you're a
child.
faggot. I mean, sure, but you're also a dick, so huh?
Yeah, no, they were calling me a fucking childish. I was like, you know what's childish? Being such a judgmental cunt.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, I was fucking laying in that fish. But anyway, so that's enough about all of this and all of us from us here at the Anime Talkshow Tuesday staff or whatever and hosts. But thank you for coming on tonight, Ted, and sitting through our show and hanging out with us. Go ahead and shout out your relevant media platforms as well. I know you're on Twitch. I don't know what your Twitter handle is and all that stuff. You can go
Same
ahead
as
and
the
link
Twitch.
it. Okay.
I like to keep. I'm not like Gosu. I like to keep a relevant consistency between all my platforms. If you wanna follow your vaporwave dream, come follow at twitch.tv/Tedverse. Don't forget to follow Harpy Brother right here and follow all the Twitters. You can also catch me on Twitter. Same. Twitter.com/Tedverse. Same with YouTube. Don't forget to follow your boys here at the Talk Show and follow all their panels below. And subscribe on their YouTubes and follow on Twitters for all of the latest talk shows and gameplay sessions. Thank you for having me. I'm going to go fucking eat.
All right, man. Have a good night. And peace out,
Dude,
everybody.
sounds good.